Welcome to the third episode of the Ideal Disciple Discovery Process Behind the Scenes Tour. In this series, we delve deeper into the layers of impactful discipleship strategies. Today, we gain a unique perspective as we hear from a secret church guest who visited a congregation in Iowa. Uncover the candid insights from their experience, revealing the nuances of effective church engagement. All right, perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for all of your help that you've been. So I wanted to begin our conversation just to get your overall feel for the church from the beginning to the end, just kind of maybe walk through your journey of what your experience was like at this weekend.
It was pretty great. So I talked about I was driving. I don't know if I use Apple GPS. So when I was driving down, I want to say that's Woodland on the side, possibly. But anyway, it didn't really give me instructions to take a right. And so, but nevertheless, I turned around, and so then I figured out I was right there in the corner. Parking was good. Was able to get close to the front. I had some back issues, so that was nice. As soon as I got in, there was greeters. They were there at the front door. They were extremely nice and helpful. They asked me my name, shook my hand, introduced themselves. Yeah, it was good.
Awesome. I see some of your questions, some of the answers that you gave in the survey. Was there anything about the experience from like going from the parking lot into the sanctuary that sort of stuck out to you? Anything that you thought maybe it would have been better if this was in place as opposed to what they had currently? Just any thoughts at all around that?
No, I think it's pretty much kind of self-explanatory as far as, when the gentleman greeting at the door, the sanctuary is right behind the door. So he kind of motioned to, where the seating was. And I think the area that I walked over to, I don't even know if the pastor was there already or what, but it just seemed like, oh, she was there. So she introduced herself to me as well. There was some other members. I mean, it was just friendly smiles. And I'm not gonna lie, being a woman of color, I was kind of nervous, being in a situation where everybody's staring at you. And I do my hair in different colors. So I had a purple wig on yesterday. And I was just concerned, that people were going to, in Iowa, there has this tendency to make people of color feel uncomfortable by the stairs. And I didn't get any of that.
Wow, that's really awesome. You mentioned doing a little bit of viewing of the website and social media prior to. What were your thoughts going into the website? Was it pretty easy to navigate? Did you feel like it was pretty self-explanatory in terms of what it is that they do and everything really having a certain level of clarity around there?
I'm going back just because I got short-term memory sometimes. So I'm just going back to briefly update myself. Yeah, the website was nice. It was simple, easy to navigate. It was welcoming. Again, upon seeing that, I just assumed again, just like the diversity piece was not necessarily there when I seen the website, but I mean, that's a part of living in Iowa too, So yeah, it was nice.
Okay, and then any thoughts about their social media presence currently? Do you feel like any of like the content that's on social media, it fairly well represents the ministry?
Yeah, absolutely. It does, and I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's like it gives this vibe of what I experienced yesterday. Energy is very peaceful and sweet and kind. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to share a little bit about if you noticed in my message that I sent out to in the forum, the specific like we were looking for like a specific age range and things of that sort. And the reason why is based on some of the research that we've done in the area where the church is located, we found that we feel like the church is best suited or best positioned to reach an age grade. The demographic, the name of the demographic that we found is called In Style. And basically the median age of this group is about 42. Usually it's usually includes people who like older people who may be single or single parents, or if they're married, they usually don't have as many children. They're usually higher educated. Just there's certain things about this demographic that we thought just based on the way is currently set up that people within this demographic would feel comfortable going there and really connecting with a lot of what he stands for and a lot of what wants to accomplish. And with that being said, do you feel like the demographic that I kind of mentioned just now, do you feel like people within that demographic would feel comfortable in based on the way you kind of saw the way that their worship service is designed, the sort of this preaching, the preaching style of and some of the other dynamics? Do you kind of agree that that people within that sort of 40 single, maybe married, that's kind of the range that we're kind of looking at? Do you kind of agree with that assessment?
And that's a targeted audience, is what you're saying?
Basically, yeah.
I do. I did see a lot of older people. And as I was sitting there just kind of looking around, I thought to myself, I was like, man, it's kind of sad because I mean, there's a lot of even, I guess, even 20s, 30s that, could use like a older grandmother, aunt type of, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so I was just like, God, there were so many of them in there, and I'm just like, how awesome would that be to have, younger people in this generation fellowshipping together? But no, I do think that age, I mean, if that's what the point. Yeah, I do. I could see that. I mean, 'cause honestly, I would come back. You know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's really good feedback, and I'm glad you kind of mentioned the other part of wishing and hoping that maybe younger people would also collaborate or want to be a part of that community as well. And
Right.
that's definitely something I would say in the near future. That's something we're definitely looking at, but we're just looking at, okay, based on where the church currently is, who could the church reach out to or connect with that would basically be able to connect right away with the way the church is set up currently, and then maybe as we expand, maybe go into younger families. I would say probably one of the reasons why we weren't we're not initially targeting the families that you mentioned is just more so about the resources that the church currently has. It's not necessarily set up right now to receive maybe younger families with children and things of that sort. So we basically found like maybe an alternative group that would find that community where it currently is more suitable for the needs that they have, and find it easier to connect with those people that are there. But I definitely appreciate that feedback as well. That's definitely something that we will keep in mind and keep in as we continue to progress to try to reach more people. The main objective is ultimately we want to find ways of connecting that congregation that you went to with more people within the community. So that's really the overall overarching theme that we're trying to go after. Do you have any other thoughts that are kind of coming to mind as I'm talking?
Well, yeah, 'cause I was actually shocked because I used to live literally right around the corner from that church. And it was literally like a block away. And I hated living over there because of the racial tension. And so when I
Mhm.
experienced that yesterday, I was like, this is like right around the corner. And so yeah, that was shocking to me.
Do you feel like uh, people people like that are of another race, like African American or any other Hispanic, Asian American, do you feel like any of those groups would feel comfortable going to that church?
I think they would with, outreach. And just yeah, no, I think that the atmosphere inside was again, like I said, totally different than what I experienced living in the neighborhood. So like I said, when
Mhm.
I got there and I was like, wow, I mean, I wouldn't, I just really, it was a terrible time when I lived in West Des Moines.
Wow,
Wow.
Yeah.
that's quite insightful. And knowing what I know about Pastor, that's something that she mentioned how she is saddened by the current racial state that is in West Des Moines or in
Mhm.
that area.
And
Yeah, yeah.
that's
Definitely something. So that I think is amazing. That's great feedback and
Mhm.
something that we can continue exploring. Maybe finding those people that are in that community that may not look like the people
right.
who are currently there. Maybe those are people that would be willing to fellowship and connect with them. So that's definitely something that we will.
Discuss. I really appreciate it.
There was a professor that had lived down this way from me because I went to Drake University, and she lives in that area. I can find her information and send that to you so you can pass it along. And just even linking with her on the campus or just about the neighborhoods. I think she was very involved in the neighborhood too, and I can send you that information.
That'd be amazing. That'd be
Okay.
absolutely amazing. So you're definitely giving us a lot of helpful insights. Is that just curious? Is there a pretty big African American community in West Des Moines?
Not that I can't, I don't think so. I mean, there's just not a big community of us in Iowa, period. But I
Yeah.
did learn there, I was with a friend a couple weeks ago, and there's a complex over off of, I want to say by Railroad, and it was like the projects. And I was quite shocked that West Des Moines was allowing that. But, so yeah, I mean, and I seen that. So maybe they're inviting more people in, because when I was growing up, that wasn't the case.
Mhm. Wow. That's definitely insightful. Just a few more questions for you. You've definitely been helpful, and I'll give you next steps because so basically tomorrow I do my normal meeting with. This will definitely be on the agenda. We'll kind of debrief on this, and then I'll pass over your information to her, as well as this video and anything else that we discuss. And she'll reach out to you. She'll connect with you on everything that you're mentioning, and I'm sure she'll have more questions for you as well. So she'll be able to get some insights as well. But I have just a few more,
Sure.
just a few more general questions, but maybe it will help a few other things come to mind.
Okay.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the greatest need in West Des Moines?
I would say diversity and camaraderie of community, right? People need to come together. The whole, I'm not, there's criminals on any race, there's crime in any involved with any skin color. So, I mean, I would just say this coming together and being open. Like I live in Ankeny now, and a lot for a long time I used to assume that Ankeny was racist. I did hear stories about that. but I'm here, and the energy and versus here versus West Des Moines is completely different.
Mm. And you said, what was the name of the area? Okay,
API, yeah, it's like a suburb off of Des Moines.
got it, got it. So it's a completely different sort of feel. Would you say that West Des Moines is maybe a little older?
Yeah, that area that was, yeah, because I live, like I said, I can't even, it was like quite funny to me. I live like 2 blocks away from there in a house off of, I think it was 805 5th Street. I have to ask my daughter, I can't remember the address.
Did you ever see the church before?
I drove by it several times, yeah. I sure did.
Wow, that is very interesting. So more diversity and more inclusion. This is another question that's a bit more general. Why do you think most people don't go to church?
I mean, the climate of the world today, you know what I mean? Like, faith is, after COVID, after certain people have learned certain histories, as far as, just the understanding of, we reach a time of enlightenment. And so people are, in a sense, thinking for themselves, not saying that a Christian does not, but people are wanting to know more historically. And I think that's kind of changing the mindset.
Absolutely. Some of the things that we've talked about, I know that that the church currently has a book club actually centered around racial justice. I could say that's one thing that they offer. Would you say, and I looked over your survey that you did a couple weeks ago, where you talked about like educational opportunities and things of that sort. That's something that me and Lee have talked about a lot, as like just various different things that the church can do that may not necessarily be, come to the church service, but finding opportunities to connect like with educational resources and other things of that sort. Would you say those would be things that you would be interested in, or you think that people would be interested in that can connect them to that congregation?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome.
Even her sermon on Sunday, I thought was pretty awesome, as far as she talked about the Jewish experience, and that was teaching, and again, opening up the minds of others to, look at things in a different perspective. So that was awesome.
Wonderful, wonderful. One last question for you. What advice would you give to a church like that really wants to be helpful in their community? Like, if you were to give one or maybe a couple pieces of advice, what advice would you give to that church that really wants to be helpful in their community?
Getting into the community, whatever that looks like, whether it's going to some of the college campuses, whether it's, I had asked about the prison ministry. I'm thinking, there's some older guys or women that are getting out of prison and would kind of like a more quiet atmosphere similar to that church. Just getting out there and, putting them, kind of inserting themselves.
Awesome. It has been a huge pleasure. I really appreciate all of the feedback, all of your help. Like you have no idea how helpful this has been. And so again, next steps, I'm going to be sending over all the information over. The thing you can know is none of it was staged. None of them knew you were there.
Yeah.
So it was absolutely like completely genuine. And again, we really appreciate all of the help. Pastor will be in contact with you tomorrow. And if you have any other questions or anything that you want to share, please feel free to reach out to me either by call or by email, and I'll try to get you what you need.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Yeah, bye.
As we hear from our secret church guests, pastors, imagine the wealth of insights that you can gather from such perspectives. Let's explore how these insights can shape your approach. Thank you for joining us on this revealing journey. Stay tuned as we progress to our final episode, where we unravel the process of crafting a powerful marketing content framework.